A little birdie told me that you were thinking about moving to Australia, and that's amazing. I fully support you in your journey to do that. However, as someone that has lived there for about a year and a half, I'm here to give you some nuggets of wisdom. My name is Diana. I make videos primarily on travel, but every so often I drop some nuggets of wisdom regarding the places that I've lived in. So I'm going to be talking about moving to Australia. How much does it cost? Should you do it? Should you be okay with starting from scratch? And any other information that I guess would be useful for your first few months of settling into Australia. So let's go. So to begin, I will say that there are multiple options to go into Australia. I went in on a student visa, which granted me pretty much 2 years of living in Australia with the ability to work for up to 25 hours per week, which is like 40 hours per fortnight. No, 45 hours per fortnight, something like that. Basically, part-time. And then the majority of it, I was able to study in Australia, which is a really great opportunity. There are other working holiday visas. There's holiday visas. It just depends what country you're from, that it grants you different abilities in terms of work and responsibilities. There's a lot of different options. Some of the popular ones are the work holiday visa. If you're from the USA, it's much different than if you're from Commonwealth country, by the way. So if you want to do that, the visa that I'm mentioning, it requires you to work in a farm for a few months. And if you want to renew for a second year, you have to spend 6 months at that farm or any of the places that are accepting of the work holiday visa exception of work. So yeah, that's some considerations to keep in mind. Other ways to go into Australia is partner visa if you find yourself a lovely Australian boy or girl, or if you have a skill that Australia really needs. These are some of the more common ways. Obviously, there's other ways, but if you are in your 20s and looking to go into Australia, these are some of the ways you could do it. Yeah, so that's visas. I'm going to apply the link just to make sure that you know what's going on. What else? Let's talk taxes. So when you go to Australia, you're going to have to apply for a tax number. And you basically just do this through the website that I'm going to link below. And that just basically logs in all of your tax information. That way you can get a juicy refund or pay the government at the end of the year. And you have to do that every year. So make sure that you do that. On top of that, if you work in Australia, you can apply for a superannuation. And a superannuation is this really neat concept where the employer must put in money into a fund that when you retire, you can claim back, and that's money for you and your retirement. If you are only planning on staying in Australia temporarily, then you can claim that after you finish your time in Australia, which is cool too. So I guess you get money back just for working, and that's money that your employer must contribute. So it's pretty cool. Finding a place to live. So in Australia, I don't know if you've heard, there's a housing crisis. There's much more people coming in than there's housing being made. So I would recommend going on Facebook, real estate websites, and a Facebook group called Fairy Floss. And these are good resources to find a place. Make sure you always sign a lease. And I wouldn't recommend going with a private owner just because I had a very bad experience. But that being said, I know that when you come into a country, especially Australia, because Australia is so annoying with this, they're going to be like, oh, we need references from places you've lived. We need pay stubs. We need all different kinds of proof that you don't have because you just got into the country. You're like, I haven't lived in any other place in Australia. I can't give you that. I'm looking for a job. I can't give you that. Like, it's all of these things that you have to prove. And then usually it's more predatory people that will look for foreigners and be like, okay, well, they can't provide these proofs, so here's my offer. And sadly, you just gotta make sure you're well researched. And if they are requiring any of those like additional steps, just make sure that you can do that. It takes a lot of it takes a lot to find a nice place in Australia, I feel like. And it's very hard because there's just not that many options available. Yeah, some other good websites to use are, I guess, yeah, Flatmates Finder, flatmates.com.au, Facebook, Facebook Marketplace, Very Floss, and I'm doing specifically for Melbourne, by the way. Realtor.com, any other like real estate places, stuff like that. All right, next section, finding a job. So finding a job is such a fun thing to do. Your best bet if you are coming to Australia as a working holiday person, sadly, most of the jobs that you can get are as hospitality, unless you've got a really stellar resume. The best thing that I would recommend you do is go on Indeed, go on LinkedIn, and if you're hospitality, just go in person. Just make a resume, go up to these places, be like, hi, are you hiring? Most chances they'll be like, yes, we're looking for somebody. And that's how I got hired a few times, just by being like, hi, I'm looking for a job. There's also a website called Barcats where I found a lot of hospitality work, and that might be helpful for you too. Also, word of mouth sometimes helps. If you have friends in Australia, if you've made friends, be like, hi, is somebody hiring for such and such position? And maybe they'll give you it. Yeah. Getting a bank account. So if you want to set up a bank account in Australia, it's fairly easy. I went with CommBank as they pretty much have a deal that if you're under 30, they are not going to charge you for your bank account. So I just decided to go with CommBank. I was originally trying to go with other banks like UpBank, which I heard was really good. But to do that, you need to have a type of Australian, what do you call it? Like documentation, like birth certificate, passport, like even like a driver's license, something of that sort. So most of these banks are going to require Australian documentation, and you don't have that. So you're going to want to start off with the easy players. And I know for sure CommBank very easily let me create an account. All I had to do was like give them an address, and they set up my account. I just went in person and they made me sign a paper, and then I had a bank account. And CommBank is pretty good. I'd say they give you like benefits, and it's very easy to see everything. And I've had no issues with them. So yeah, I would recommend. What else? Transferring money, same thing. You can just do it from bank to bank or different banks. Super easy. Never had any problems. It's also very easy to transfer money to people based on like their email, phone number. Super easy with Pay ID and stuff like that. SIM card. There are so many good options in Australia. It's not like you're locked in per se. I went with a Mason. I don't know if this one's not very popular, but the reason I went with the Mason is because they had an eSIM, and I basically just put the number, connected it to my phone, and I had an eSIM on my phone. And it's about $35 a month with the intro deal. Sometimes they were like $15 a month. Very often they like just slash the price. If you're like, oh, I'm leaving, then they slash the price. I know that there's some cheaper alternatives like Aldi Mobile. And I know that the very popular ones are like Telstra, etc. But those are probably a little bit more sexy, but yeah, stuff like that. Supermarkets, the main ones are Aldi. Well, not the main one, but that's the main one. Coles and Woolies, also known as Woolworths. Besides that, there's like little stores you could just enter. Those are the main ones that people like to shop at. You can also get loyalty membership cards where you got like points, and It takes a really long time, but they'll eventually give you something. Yeah, transportation. All right, we're going to talk about Melbourne specifically here. There are so many transport options. There are trams, there are trains, there are Ubers, there are, was that it? You can walk, you can bike. Yeah, the transportation options are pretty good, I'd say. It's about $5, I want to say, for a single ride, but it gives you like transfers and anything for about 2 hours. So, I mean, it's kind of expensive, I'd say, but the fact that you get 2 hours for that is pretty good. And you can also get discount packages if you buy a monthly ride card or something like that. But yeah, I guess just take it with a grain of salt. Oh, there's also buses. I will say though that the buses in Melbourne are very often delayed or not on time or too early. Never just right. I would say that some apps that are good to use in Melbourne for transportation are Uber, Didi, Google Maps, and yeah, those are pretty much the main ones. If you want to download like the designated bus apps, I never really did because it didn't really make much of a difference. It would just be like, oh, we're delayed, and I'm just like, great, thanks. Yeah, and then finally, how do you make friends in Australia? So I had the good fortune of knowing some people before I went, and I ended up becoming very, very close to one of them. And the other methods that I would use, especially if you are new, I mean, I know that there's like a lot of like these social groups now that this just seems to be the wave now. Time Out, or like there's just so many different groups in Australia, especially Melbourne. They're like social media groups where it's just like, oh, come join a dinner, come join like this event, or we're making pizza today, join this event. And that's probably one of the best ways to make friends. I also use Bumble BFF, which is like a really good way to just like swipe and be like, oh, you seem like an interesting person, and you just like have a little chat and meet up in person, see if you liked each other, and then you made friends like that. Also, once you just like make friends, it just branches out and you just start meeting more people. But yeah, I think if you are planning on coming to Australia, it's such a great place. There's so many opportunities. It's still very small enough that you feel like you have a place there. And yeah, overall, very good, very great. If you have any other questions that I failed to answer in this quick little quip, please let me know. But otherwise, yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.